5 seconds to go. Start. The Bihar caste survey, it seems, has given a new lease of life to the politics of social justice. All political parties, including BJP, are showing great interest in the relative marginalization of the most backward communities and social groups. The recent electoral campaigns, especially in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Rajasthan, also underline the fact that multifaceted ideas of social justice are going to set the terms of future political discourse. The scope of this rejuvenated politics of social justice, however, is still very restricted. The political class envisages the question of socio-economic inequalities and caste-based discrimination in purely electoral terms. As a result, the expanded reservation in public sector jobs and government run educational institutions is proposed as the most appropriate mode to address social inequalities. At the same time, several attractive welfare schemes are also offered to mobilize electorally relevant sections of society. These politically motivated measures are legitimized in the name of social justice. This restricted and election centric meaning of social justice should be interrogated for a meaningful discussion on the growing social and economic disparity in the country. More specifically, there is a need to examine two crucial aspects which the Bihar caste survey data has clearly underlined: the magnitude of caste based socio-economic backwardness and the nature of economic power structure in contemporary India. It is important to clarify that the Bihar caste survey data must not be exaggerated to make any sweeping generalization. This data is state centric and it should not be treated as a representative sample of some kind. However, this official intervention by the Bihar government is crucial to make sense of a broad pattern. The available data reveals that there is an interesting overlap between the caste and class. Although one finds poor households whose monthly income is less than rupees 6,000 among all social groups, the poverty among the marginalized sections of society, scheduled caste SC, scheduled tribe ST, backward class BC, and extremely backward class EBC is extremely high. For instance, around 25% of households belonging to the general category read upper caste are poor. By all standards, this figure is alarming. However, the level of poverty among SC communities is much more disturbing. The data shows that there are more than 42% SC families which earn less than rupees 6,000 a month. This comparative picture clearly underlines a basic fact that caste jati is not only a social category, it also determines the overall socio-economic backwardness of an individual family in the Indian context. The expansion of caste based reservation in public sector jobs and state administered educational institutions in this scenario makes perfect sense. However, this simple formulation does not correspond to contemporary economic life. Precisely for this reason, the expanded reservation as a possible way out to tackle established inequalities needs to be critically evaluated. The economic liberalization of the 1990s was a watershed moment which had far reaching policy implications. The state redefined its role as a political mediator so as to facilitate open markets as the most preferred economic order for the country. This market oriented imagination of public life was gradually accepted by the entire political class, including the left parties. As a result, the public sector employment began to shrink while the private sector emerged as a powerful economic entity. This radical restructuring of economic life posed a serious challenge. The state had to create an equilibrium between the free market economy and the aspirations of the poor and marginalized sections of Indian society. To solve this puzzling equation, the affirmative action policies concerning the deprived sections of society were presented as a form of official benevolence. At the same time, the state continued to follow an aggressive policy for gradual and comprehensive privatization. This might be the reason why the contemporary state in India could be described as a charitable state, a committed pro market state which recognizes affirmative action as a short term, ready to use electoral mechanism within the domain of ever shrinking public sector. The Madhav Menon Committee report, Equal Opportunity Commission, What, Why, and How, is very relevant here, highlighting the need for expanding the scope of equal opportunity framework for achieving social justice. The report argues that the changes in the country's economy in the last 2 decades have meant that most of the emerging and lucrative opportunities lie in the private sector that has so far remained outside the scope of affirmative action. The committee thus suggests that the jurisdiction of the EOC should extend to public enterprises and private enterprises. This observation is still very relevant, though no one is talking about the Equal Opportunity Commission and or its relevance for affirmative action policies. The contemporary political discourse, as it appears, is a bit reluctant to engage with the structural causes that produce social and economic inequalities. At the same time, there is no realistic discussion on the efficacy of the existing form of affirmative action framework. The Bihar Caste Survey has given us an opportunity not only to demand a national level caste census but also to reimagine social justice as a constitutional value and political commitment. Stop.